Good morning. Another week getting underway. How are your weeks travelling? Are they turning out the way that you want them, or are you missing out? And if you're a planner, or if you're not a planner, and let's face it, there are lots of people who don't plan how things are going to happen, they just happen. And there are folks who plan, and of the folks who plan, there are some folks who plan really, really well and perform really, really well, and other people have difficulty bringing their plans to a result that is a result that they want. It's understanding a whole lot of things when it comes to planning, because planning allows you to take the appropriate action. And if you're taking the appropriate action, chances are you're going to get the right result. Perhaps the most important thing to understand about planning is that you cannot control the outcome. So, what's really important is to understand the activity, because that's the only thing we can control, the activity. If we're performing the right activity, and we're performing the right activity with the right people for the appropriate number of times, chances are we're going to get the right result. In fact, I've seen many occasions where you go out and perform the right activity, you get a result far bigger than what you think you're going to get, just because you're performing the right activity. We're coming towards the end of a calendar year. Whether or not you've achieved what you set out to achieve, we can't change a heck of a lot of it now. Okay, lots of people, when they set out to do something and the going gets tough, they change the goal, which is not really a good idea. Let's set the goal appropriately and then undertake the right activity so that we have a greater chance of achieving the goal, rather than leave it up to the last minute and at the last minute change the goal and still fail to achieve whatever it is that we've reset the goal to, and then claim that goals don't work or planning doesn't work. Well, lots of folks do that. Let's set some goals and actually go out and get them. Because in business, it's all about growth. Now, it's growth that you might want, it's growth that you might not want. You're in business, you have a chance of growth. And when it comes to growth, really important things to take notice of. Do you want it? Yes or no? Well, if you do you want it to be fast growth? Do you want it to be slow growth? Do you want it steady over a longer period of time? Do you want fast growth and then consistent, steady growth, etc.? There's a whole host of ways that you can have your growth. Now, having been involved in businesses across a lot of years, I've seen growth at all the different levels. I've seen businesses grow from $65,000 a month to $675,000 a month. And that was achieved in 3 months. That is, in the third month, they achieved that huge figure. And you might say, wow, that's a great opportunity for a fail. And of course it was, if the planning hadn't been undertaken correctly. But because the planning was undertaken correctly, all the necessary parts were taken into account, the appropriate bits and pieces were put in place as the growth was developing, and that was maintained across years. There are other occasions where people set out to establish their business and have a little bit of growth and don't take into account the things that needed to be taken into account. For example, if you're manufacturing goods and you're supplying them to retailers, we'll say, just as an example, every time you do well, that is, when you go out and you make some sales, we know before you even went out there that you're going to have to do better immediately. Because as soon as you've made that sale to a retailer, the retailer is going to on-sell those products. As a result of that, that retailer is going to want to buy more. So you have to do better. You look a little bit further, other retailers are going to hear about the success that that retailer has had with this fantastic product that you've brought to the market. Because of that, more retailers are going to want those products. If you take all of this into account before you start, you have a really good opportunity of managing the growth rather than have it all land on you all at once and swamp you, which becomes rather difficult. If we work through it clearly, we can understand how it's going to happen. And because we can understand how it's going to happen, we can manage that growth. Now, I could talk to you all day about the different levels of growth, how you can multiply your business across the space of a year. You can double your business if you want to. Doubling your business is actually not all that difficult. You can multiply it by 20 times if you want to. You can multiply it by more than that if you want to. It's a matter of sitting down and figuring out, how are we going to do this? How is this all going to be managed? As part of figuring it out, do some serious planning. Part of that, let's have a look at this. The Business Life Planner. A lot of you will already know that we, through Business, have been providing the Business Life Planner for quite a few years. Here's the 2022 edition. What's the purpose of a planner like this? To help you plan. Just a couple of the things that are in there. Get your goals right. Okay. It's a little bit of an education process on how to set goals. And the thing about setting goals is it's like doing everything else. Once you've done it once, you figured out a few things that might be improved. So you can practice a bit more and see if you can get it even better. You've got an annual calendar. Okay. You want to look through the whole thing. Make sure that you're clear on where your year is going. Okay? That's just the beginning. That's the first couple of pages. Now, there's heaps more, because having made your goals on how you want your business to run, and that's whether you want growth or you don't want growth. You might be perfectly happy with your business the size that it is, and you want to keep going that way. Because every time you grow your business, there's a whole bunch of stuff comes into play. Who's going to deliver the services? Who's going to sell the product? Do we need more salespeople? Do we need more back-end people? And so on and so forth. So as you set your goals, understand that we want to achieve this in a year. Okay, what do we need to achieve in a quarter? What do we need to achieve in a month? What do we need to achieve in a week? What does that mean we need to achieve in a day? Now, this might sound like it's terribly difficult to figure all this out, and then, of course, you have to turn up and work every day. Well, if you've got your plans made correctly, you'll find yourself doing less of the difficult stuff, more of the exciting stuff. That allows you to have a life. And as I keep saying, what's the first thing you want a business to give you? A life. And very often, most of us get into business and give up that very thing. We let the business run us instead of us running the business. There's so much that you can do in your business to allow you to have the life that you want. Get a hold of a copy of the Business Life Planner. Make good use of it. There's a link in the post beside this live, which will allow you access to that Business Life Planner. Go and have a look. If it's for you, get one, make good use of it, grow the business the way you want it to grow. Quickly, that's great. Slowly, that's great. Stay where you are, that's great. Run your business to suit you.